Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you some value, to help you scale your business, to become a better father, and push yourself to higher goals personally. We hope you really enjoy these shows, and we really encourage you to share this with your friends and network to help share these messages. I'm super excited to announce a new partnership we have with Site Recon. If you're tired of measuring properties, the Site Recon platform fully automates the measurements so you can then focus on sales. Think measurements, think Site Recon. Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard with the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. I am so excited to be joined today by Aiden Silvers. Aiden, thank you for joining me today.
No problem, brother. It's my pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Well, so tell me a little bit about yourself, Aiden. Just tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Aiden Silvers. I'm the CEO, founder, and really the COO of my business development company, Wheelistic Web Design. We are very niched into the green industry specifically right now. I've been in business for about 8 years, doing this since I was 18. I'm now 26. Over the past 3 years, we've really honed in the green industry and kind of found our place, if you will, of a community and a service provider that we can work very well together with. As you can see, I'm disabled. I have a neuromuscular disease called spinal muscular atrophy. So, there's not a whole lot that I can do in life besides use a computer, and I was kind of guided in the direction of the digital world at a young age. So here I am today, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to you could join me today. So when did they diagnose your disease, Aiden?
Yeah, so my disease is at birth. You get it from both of your parents have to have the gene or whatever in their system. They don't necessarily have the disease, but they have the gene that gives it to their child. And then there's a 1 in 4 chance that your child has it.
Right.
So I had the lucky number, and my parents had it together, and then I was the first child. So lucky, right? But I was diagnosed at 2. With my disease, it's a very slow progression. So I was normal up until about 2. I was walking, and then my dad said he noticed I started reverting back into like crawling and then rolling and digressing. So he took me there to the hospital and all the doctors for a period of time, and eventually they diagnosed it as spinal muscular atrophy. And so I used to be able to do a lot of things on my own. Like playing video games on a console, writing, holding a book, whatever, feeding myself. Over 26 years' time, I'm down to what you see here with my mouses and
Right.
on the computer, right? And so basically my muscles cannot grow. So if I stop doing something for an extended period of time, a month or two, I lose that ability, right? And so me being on the computer every day basically allows me to maintain that little strength that I have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the things that really impressed me about, when we chatted a week or so ago was just, your grit, your determination, and, here you are with a company of, I think you said 15 people on your team. And, I was talking to you, about my Ironman achievements. And, I think it's just so great to, whatever your challenge is. I mean, you can, if you put your mind to it, you can pretty much, kick ass and be successful. So real huge credit out to you for building a great company and, kicking ass out there. So well done.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And, I'm a real strong believer that adversity is really the key or the doorway or the stepping stone into greatness. I mean, it's very rare that you see somebody that's super successful that started that way. They always started somewhere very low. And, I know a lot of people, we work with 7-figure landscaping companies, and I got a lot of people in my circle, and it's just always so interesting to hear them have stories of like, man, before I was 35, I went bankrupt, I lived in a trailer park, and it's like, here they are now with a 7-figure company with 8 different crews. And it's just kind of crazy how life works. And I find it actually very difficult for people that are kind of given everything early. I find it very difficult for them to navigate the waters of life because it's kind of like they started backwards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And I wanted to jump into, you mentioned about being involved in the green industry. And I know you were at the London Landscape Tech event in Florida last year. So how did you get involved in the green industry? And I know you also did an article with London Landscape as well. But so you've obviously immersed yourself in such a great industry. So tell me a little bit about how you got
Yeah.
involved in that.
Absolutely. So I'll try to give you a short version, which is still pretty long. But being in business, at the fifth year of being in business, I was really kind of getting tired of servicing a variety of different industries. So we would have a dog groomer and a barber and somebody selling hair product or whatever, right? And so it's very difficult to provide a top tier service when you're not doing something over and over for the same style of service. So if we're building websites and they're for all different types of industries or businesses, it's very difficult to kind of hone in on the granular difficulties and fix those. So I decided it was time to focus on a niche and just get well established in a niche and focus on that. So that was about the fifth year, and I looked into a lot of different niches. A lot of them were home based services like construction, plumbing. We even did some stuff like printing presses, you name it. And so I was looking into the lawn care industry too, and we just kind of fell into that. I joined a group on Facebook called Lawn Life. Shout out to them. And I met some really great people in there and I just started sharing some of my work. And back then, I was doing things for really, really low rates just to get my foot in the door and kind of get the word out there about me and get some authority and recognition. And that slowly took off over 3 years' time. And I think I've mentioned this to you on a previous call, but in 2019, we hit 90,000 gross revenue, which was like record breaking for us because every year prior was 40,000, 50. So we were super stoked. And then in 2020, we hit about a quarter mil in gross revenue, which is tripling our previous
Wow.
record breaking revenue,
That's
right?
awesome.
So us being able to solidify ourselves in a niche and then scale from there allowed us to hyper focus on the service, right? But also very rapidly find solutions for problems that we were able to diagnose. Because let's face it, if we're building landscaping websites, obviously we want them to be custom and unique, but landscaping is landscaping. So me and my team have been able to understand like the ins and outs of the landscaping business. And I joke with my team all the time, like if I wanted to, I could start a landscaping business because I have all the experience and knowledge and sort of the strategies that everybody's using and I picked up on it really quick, right? So I have that experience and knowledge of what's involved in your business, which allows me to put myself in your shoes and really do what I do best, which is strategy.
Right. No, that's great.
Um, and sorry I didn't answer the rest of your question, but yeah, lawn life really was a big it really blew us up and gave us a lot of attention. I went to GIE in 2019, met some really great people. One of those persons was Stephen Warner from Lawn Buddy. He introduced me to Lawn and Landscape and actually paid for my trip and my tickets to go there with him. So we went there and spent the weekend together. Met some other really great people, and yeah, I got published in an article in Lawn and Landscape, which is super exciting. This is all very new to me, so I'm just taking it as it comes, But super grateful to be in the industry and being able to help people grow their business is
That's
like
great.
such a addiction for me.
No, that's awesome. Awesome. And what does the future look like? I mean, where do you think you'll be in, 2, 3, 4 years? I mean, I don't know what your client spread is like, whether it's out throughout the whole of the US, whether it's mainly East Coast, but what does that company growth look
Yeah,
like?
yeah. So we service everybody in the U.S. All across the country. We're not restricted to local. Growth is very interesting question because I have macro goals and micro goals. So I have goals for 20, 30 plus years from now, and then I have a bunch of micro goals in the short term that align with that to keep me on track. And we have a lot of really great exciting things coming as far as our company's future This is the first time that I've ever mentioned it live or to the public, but we're actually going to be rebranding into a new brand and a new identity.
Oh,
I
cool.
can't really mention anything more than that, but it's super exciting for me because I feel like it'll easily take us to the plans that we have in place will easily take us to a $1 million agency over the next 24 months. And the reason why that excites me so much is the more capital that we have to work with, the more people we're going to be able to hire and bring on board and have a part of the team, but also the more capacity we're going to be able to take on and the more people we're going to be able to help. So scaling to a level like that is, at this point, it seems very realistic for me, to me, very practical, not just a pipe dream or whatever, right? And it's just very exciting, and I can't wait to share more info about it. But maybe we can do another podcast whenever we launch that.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that because you know what one interesting thing is, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but you know through my scaling up coaching, you know one of the statistics that I tell people is that only 4% of companies that start will hit that $1 million. So
Right.
you know I think you're definitely with your growth trajectory. I mean I think you're well on track to get there. So yeah, I mean I'm definitely excited of your growth. I'm definitely happy to help you in that growth roadmap. So
I
whatever I
appreciate
can
that, brother.
do, yeah, definitely like to help you out.
It, and I definitely agree. I mean, let's face it, only business and entrepreneurship is very difficult. It's not for everyone. Like you just mentioned before we started the podcast here, you mentioned you sleep like 4 hours a night. Like you're burning the candles at both ends and you're hustling, man. You got the pure sweat equity. And that's not for everyone. A lot of people have big goals, but their actions just simply don't match their ambitions. And a lot of businesses are going to need to have a partner, digital partner like us, or a coach like yourself to get there. Otherwise, they're not going to be patient enough to go for the 10 years that it takes. Like I said, for me, I've been doing this 8 years, and something just clicked in the past 12 months that scaled us up rapidly.
No,
Right?
that's
It
awesome.
doesn't happen overnight. It takes a very long time, and so a lot of people just don't have that patience to stay the course. And there is sort of a shortcut in hiring someone like ourselves, or even having a partner or a friend be there for you to help get you to your goals, right? Because I mean, we all need a team of resources to get to these levels that we're talking about. It's very difficult as a solo entrepreneur to do that.
Yep. No, definitely. Yeah, as you say, that solo entrepreneur is challenging. It's you know I remember having a big company, so I had business partner, I had a huge team behind me to help me achieve things, but when I moved into the coaching role, when you're trying to grow and get new business, but also take care of your existing clients is pretty challenging.
Oh yeah.
So so no, credit off to you. So when I go in and see my clients, one of the things I talk to them about is how do you get new business? How what keeps that funnel full? And I'll ask them about either websites or social media, and I just get that I get that blank stare or that glazed look in their face.
Right.
And so, talk me through the process that you go through when you're talking to a prospect or you bring in a new client, and the evaluation you do just to see where they're at with their lead generation.
Yeah, so there's thousands of ways that we approach it, and it really is based on the person and their needs and kind of who they are and what they're willing to accept. I think the most important thing about us and my company is that our religion and our culture and focus is so against or against the standard really of what agencies do. So a lot of agencies and companies are so hyper focused on getting the next sale, right? And their intent is always to convert a new customer, a new sale, get money coming in, meet these monthly thresholds. And consumers nowadays on social media, especially, they can feel the intent of the content or the ad. I mean, I'm sure you see it all the time when you're going through something and you're going through your news feed. There's like some, hey, free offer, download this today. But darn well they just want to get you into their funnel to sell you something eventually, right? And so these methods of marketing are just so unethical, in my opinion. I mean, if it works for you, then great, do what you do. But with us, we're so focused on bringing value for free consistently as much as possible. And through doing so, you as the consumer will start getting trust in us that we know what we're talking about and we know how to do it. Right. And then if you're not, we'll tell you straight up what to do. Like, we want to we want to build a deck to give out for free and basically tell everybody, hey, here's how you build a website. Here's how you do it properly with SEO, etc. Here's how you run Facebook ads. Here's what you need to do with them. Here's how you test them, etc. And we want to give people the formula. And if they don't have time to do it, they know who to hire because we taught them how to do it the right way.
Right.
And so we want to take that religion and kind of distribute it to our clients as well. And the content that they put out is, if you're a lawn care application provider, put out nothing but content that talks about ways to not need to hire you. Like, hey, if you would just do this from April to May, you wouldn't need to fertilize or whatever it is, right? And the customer, some of them will do that and be very grateful for you and then recommend you later to their friends at dinner or whatever it may be. But the majority of them are not going to do it just because time is very crucial and they just don't want to be bothered with it.
Right.
But they will know that you know what you're talking about. So like it's just as a byproduct of bringing value, it leads to conversions. And don't get me wrong, there is room for sales and salesy content and call to actions and buy now. It's just more so of a follow up after your value prop. And
Right.
so that's kind of what I tell people what they're getting when they come to us is our strategy is very different from the norm. And it works very well. I mean, it works for us, as you can see, with triple growth in the span of a year. But yeah, I mean, that's really our kind of our method or approach. But we offer a very wide variety of business development services, with most of them being in digital marketing, like branding, what custom websites, SEO, paid ads via Google, Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media, right? Social media management. We even so what kind of separates us from other digital agencies is like I mentioned, we're primarily a business development company. So
Right.
we'll go above and beyond and do things like help you create an employee handbook or standard operating procedures or identify your KPIs or help you integrate software like Lawn Buddy or Service Autopilot. And be more of like your business partner instead of somebody that just sets up your website and ads and pulls in leads for you and then says, okay, now it's your job to take the leads and do something with it.
Right.
We're going to go the extra mile and position you to be able to accept all those leads and efficiently go through them.
No, that's great. Because one of the, I mean, obviously us being in this pandemic right now, and people are not able to go out and do that, the typical face-to-face meetings or the business meetings or networking meetings. So,
Right.
I would imagine that's probably really accelerated your activity. But when I go into some companies and I ask them about their social media and then their marketing or um, sales. And then I start, you mentioned the keyword in there, the KPIs. When I
Hmm.
ask them about, what sort of KPIs or measures do they have? And, again, I get that blank look in their face. So
Right.
I think people don't necessarily know what questions to ask and how to measure to see if they're, if they have an internal person, what type of things they should be looking at. Because I would
Right.
imagine, all these social media companies are constantly changing their algorithms, and it's
Oh,
really
for
tough to
sure.
keep up with that. So,
Yep.
to
Uh,
talk to me a little bit about that.
yeah, absolutely. And to touch first on kind of what you're saying about, mentioning a word like KPIs, which is key performance indicators, and someone not really knowing it, something that I find in the green industry is that a lot of people, the way they've gotten into the industry is they're not like the most educated on landscaping or business in general. They're just pure hustlers. And this industry is a perfect realm for that because the more you hustle, the more you're going to scale rapidly. And then as a byproduct, you learn as you go, right? And so that's kind of why I love working in the industry because it's a cooperative effort. If you're not out there hustling and doing what you need to provide a quality service and learn yourself, then all my efforts are just going to be for nothing. And a lot of other businesses don't really force you to hustle like that. You can kind of just float along until you hit a brick wall. But landscaping and lawn care is quite the opposite. As far as algorithms go and these platforms, I mean, not only algorithms, but really the attention of the consumer is changing all the time. And so not to get political or anything, but if you noticed, very recently there was a shift from all these social media platforms to something Parlor it was called. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And so a bunch of people started going to Parlor, and so that's just an example of how quick and easy the attention of your audience can move. I mean, we have TikTok now, which is exploding, and I know a lot of people, their general census is like, well, TikTok doesn't have our audience, and that may be true. It might not have the majority of their people on the platform, but you would be surprised how many people there actually are. And I mean, there's thousands of ways to be creative and market and target their children and get them to scale it up to their parents. And there's just a lot of ways to be creative in today's day and age. It's not so black and white as a lot of people think. But yeah, Google changes very often. I mean, we're constantly uh, upgrading our standard operating procedures and making sure we're following Google's guidelines. And there's never usually a major shift and something that would like crucially affect you, but it's just always good to be up to date and ready for that.
Right.
Right. And I mean, look at Facebook in its early stages. You would post something on your business page and you would get huge engagement. Now, fast forward 8 years, 10 years later, you post something on your business page and you get very little to nothing because there's so many people posting now that it's like the supply and demand is overwhelmed. Now you have to pay for ads to be able to reach people,
Right.
right? LinkedIn is turning into a organic monster over the past couple of years to kind of be like the early stages of Facebook. So if you post on LinkedIn now, you have a very high chance to reach people for free, right? Which is just like TikTok. I hear stories all the time of people just posting one video and literally just going viral because of the opportunity for organic reach. I don't know if that answered your question or if that's what you meant, but kind of got off tangent a little bit.
No, no, that's good answer, and good feedback. So I definitely want to get you back on again, but to finish up, what if somebody was thinking about getting into a business, what would be your recommendations if they're thinking about it? Because a lot of people talking about one of the best times to get into business is when there's a challenging economy. There's lots
Right.
of opportunities there. So if somebody is thinking about a budding entrepreneur, just wants to jump in and start a business, whatever that business looks like, what would be a couple of key pieces of advice that you would provide to them?
I think a lot of people spend way too much time contemplating instead of executing. So I say, and I say this to a lot of people who aren't really sure what they want to do in life, is taste and try as many different things as you can. And eventually you're going to find what you love and what you're passionate at. Entrepreneurship is very interesting because, well, for me anyways, I love building businesses. But what I love more is helping others build their business. So I could very easily build 20 businesses of my own and start an Amazon drop shipping e-commerce business and be a millionaire by now, easy peasy. But I don't love it. I'm not passionate about it. I'm not going to want to do it.
Right.
Right. And so I just, I'm not going to waste time on that type of thing. So for an entrepreneur, I would say a lot of people think they're entrepreneurs, but they're really not. They just want to make some money. So find what you love to do and what you're passionate at, and then just go with it, right? Until you get burnout or whatever. Because if you're passionate and you really love something, you're not going to get burnout at it. You might get a little tired from time to time, which is normal, but you're always going to want to continue what you do.
Yeah.
Like the business I'm in, brother, it's so chaotic that nobody in their right mind would do it. It's one of the hardest businesses to do, right? Like me and my content director are up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and we have a
Wow.
joke called playing the bongos. I don't know if you ever seen Bongo Cat,
Yeah.
but that's us every night from 12 to 5 in the morning. So it's because we love it and we're passionate about it, right? So for entrepreneurs looking to get into a business in general, I would say just taste different things until you find what you love. For landscaping, like I said earlier, it's really for hustlers, man. If you can hustle and get into it, like let's go. It's all for you. And you don't necessarily need to hire an agency to start. Like if you're just pure hustling and sweat equity, hustle gets a bad word, a bad rap nowadays. It's really your work ethic,
Yeah.
right? If your work ethic is top tier, you can grow a pretty decently sized business with your time. But once your time is taken up, then it becomes a situation of like, okay, I need to hire an agency to do my social media, my ads, my content, all this for me, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I would say for people kind of looking to
No,
get into it.
I like that because I think you're right that the your mindset and just putting in that effort into a business, and then at a certain point, then you need to bring in people around you, coaches, experts, just
Hmm.
build that community around you. So I think that's huge. So if people want to learn more about you, contact you, do business with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so honestly, it's my Facebook.
Yep.
I'm on there all day, every day, almost 24/7. Aiden Silvers, but you can just simply Google us, Wheelistic Web Design, and that's spelled WHEEL as in wheelchair, istic ISTIC. And so the difficulty of spelling is one reason why we're going to be rebranding. But yeah, give us a Google search of Realistic Web Design, and I think you'll be pretty surprised to see our reviews. We have something over 200 reviews, and they're all 5 star. We don't have a single one under 5 star just because satisfaction is like customer satisfaction is our number one
Wow, that's
priority.
awesome.
I
Wow.
mean, and to talk about entrepreneurship a little bit, we even go the extra mile for some clients that are like just extremely unhappy. We'll give them the product and refund them just because we don't want any bad energy out there.
Right.
Right, going back to the macro goals of 30 years from now, that's what I'm building for. So I don't want anybody out there having anything bad to say about it. So we'll take care of you.
Okay, awesome. Well, Aiden, really nice talking to you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Definitely want to get you back on in the near future. Really appreciate your time today.
It's my pleasure, brother. And yeah, I hope we were able to give some value to people listening. And I would love to do as many episodes as you'd like.
Cool, awesome, cool. Okay, well, have a great afternoon. Thank you, Aiden. Take care.
All right, brother. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today and you got some great takeaways for your business or your personal life. This is Robert Clinkybeard along with David Anderson and would love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. 2 quick things before you go, listeners. Check out our website, commerciallandscapers.com. You can subscribe, you can share with your friends. But more importantly, check out our new sponsor, Site Recon. We're going to make your sales process, your estimating way easier so you can spend more time in your proposals. Thanks everyone. Cheers. Bye.